Alright guys, I know it's been a while since I've done an update. I wanted to thank everybody for subscribing and liking. If you hadn't done that, please hit those things down at the bottom. Appreciate everyone that subscribed to the channel. I'm working on a lot of little stuff, ordering a lot of little parts. Right now we're just in the tedious part where it's just little pieces here and there, everything having to order and come in. Finally got a little bit of time to work on the truck this weekend, so wanted to go over some of that. I may cover some stuff that was in the other video. If I do, I'm sorry, but just want to bring everybody up to speed with what I'm working on. And also the decision that I made that is coming up here in a few minutes. So basically right now, I did wrap the exhaust. These are your floorboards right here. And I'm going to bed liner these floorboards to also insulate them a little bit better. This is going to keep the heat off your feet a little bit. I elevated this probably 1.5 to 2 inches higher than it was before. And the reason I've done that is because I am going to box the engine in. I just have to. Running that engine, standing next to it, it's really hot. You know, and when Larry ran this truck, you know, he'd get in it, fired up, and go to a pool, and then get out of it. You know, it's a crew cab truck. It's really gonna be hot with that engine running right there. So I really want this truck to be family oriented. I want kids to be able to ride in it, to be comfortable. I am putting air conditioning in it. So I elevated that 2 inches so I can get more air around the engine. So I've got some openings back here so that the air can flow through there, because basically it's gonna box in from this point. It's gonna box in here, and I'm probably gonna build a 4-piece guard. And that guard is gonna run up, probably up here. It's gonna taper in because you need that leg room, and then go up straight and then straight across the top. I'll probably take a piece of cardboard and cut the back of this engine out. So for a template, cut that out with the plasma cutter. It'll come down right here flush with a plate. And then this will be pretty flat here because your seat has to clear this valve cover and you don't have a lot of room. I did order a straight up compressor instead of the 45-degree compressor, so that did give me a little more room to work with it there. So I'm gonna try to flat floor that, and then I'm gonna mount that AC box in between the driver and the passenger seat so that the back seat gets plenty of air and the passenger and the driver get plenty of air conditioning. I'm gonna put a 36,000 BTU air conditioner in it. So that should seal up the cab for the most part. Some of the other things that when the subframe comes down over this part, you can see below everything. So I'm gonna take some plate and I'm gonna cut it straight back and L it over, just because when you're sitting in this truck, I want it to feel like a closed-in truck. I don't want it to feel like you can see the floor. Before it was almost commercial. You could see the engine, the floor, everything around you. We're gonna cover some of that up. Try to make it a little closed-in feeling, get that air trapped in there so we get some good AC, and make some progress on that. So if you come over here, one of the things I tried to, and I know I said it before, but I'm gonna bring everybody up to speed on it. I tried to not rebuild the front axle. I rebuilt the outside drives, and that's these right here. So your planetaries, your final drives, whatever you wanna call them. Put all new seals in them, went through them, everything looks good on those. I had done that previously. I just didn't separate it here. But when I took the pinion out, pinion housing came apart. I'm gonna say thanks to Bobby at BKG. They actually built me a new pinion housing and did it in like a day or two. It was pretty amazing. And Rodney's at One Stop right now. He is working on getting it. They ran a pattern on it. They put it together, I guess, Thursday, Friday. It just didn't look quite right, so they were gonna do a little more shimming on it. So hopefully this week we will get that ring and pinion set back. As soon as we get that back, I've got everything ready to put these on, put the tires back on. I do have both hydraulic rams. If you look on the back, the hydraulic ram is installed already. Got the old driveline guard, and I know, guys, I could have built a new one, but I'm really trying to keep this truck original as much as I can. I'm trying to use some of the original pieces. I know it has some pitting in it. It would look great to put a nice new cage on that, but just trying to keep the original, and that's my goal. So got that done. Got the hydraulic rams. All the stuff in the back is pretty much done. I just have to do air lines and hydraulic lines, and I've got to order the 12-volt actuator. We're just putting a toggle switch on the back for left and right steering. So the main pump's gonna drive it. I bought you look here, this is a Clark forklift pump. So it basically has a 60-40 priority valve, and it has a relief in it. And so instead of running a standard pump, coming out with the relief, and then splitting it 60-40, and then returning it back, and then having returns go back from everything else and making a big hose mess, this pump basically is an all-in-one. So basically this is your suction, this is your front drive, so 60% here. On this side, we've got 40%. And then here, we're at, this is the return back to the tank. So very simple pump. This is your auxiliary drive and sprocket. Of course, got a new plate to mount it. The other pump had like I think it was like a 5-bolt pattern. So this is a 2-bolt. It's a different pump. So I'd like to say thanks to Steven over at Magic Industries. Back in the day, he was part of building this truck. I guess his dad was. And also Bobby at BKG, they built the wheels and the gearbox. So it's really neat. A lot of the people that were part of this truck in the past are helping out to build this truck now. And but this is the orbital. Steven and them rebuilt this for me. Everything's ready to go. Just didn't want anything to leak, so that's for the front steering. Like I said, I'll order a valve for the back for the rear steering. Then just a standard hydraulic filter and a head for the suction. And this is the brake control here for the air brakes. So once I get these floors in and get all that done, we'll make some progress on that. If you come around here, this is one of the Walker Engineering. As you know, the Detroit diesels have air boxes. You might have to come on this side to show them the case. The Detroit diesels have air box drains. They do drip oil. And so this is like a catch can basically. So it's gonna catch any of the oil so we're not dripping on the ground. Got that hooked up, got that tied in. Don't have to worry about those lines anymore. From the previous videos also, y'all know we put a reduction drive starter on it. We saved the weight on that. Spins the engine really fast. Got I think it's a 160 amp alternator on it. So it should have plenty to run the fans and everything else that I need to run. One of the other things I have to add to it is I have to run a fuel cooler. You know, on a Detroit, the fuel runs through the head. They're made for rig tanks. They're made for like 200 gallon setups. So this thing has like a 15 gallon, 18 gallon. When it's full, the fuel gets very hot. If you run it for 10, 15 minutes, the fuel's probably 130, 140 degrees. So we had to put a fuel cooler. That's gonna be electric. That's gonna be on the back of the truck. Then this is the 24 brake controller. This is the parking brake. So without air pressure, the truck will be parked. Got the air compressor hooked up, got 150 pounds in the air tank. Valve works, relief valve works, everything works on that. So making progress on that. That's the hydraulic tank. If you look up under here, I put the 2 mounts in right here in front of the diesel tank. All I've got to do is drill the holes and get that bolted and get the lines ran. Okay, so again, we're just going to do a quick walk down on the frame. Got the diesel tank here. We got the feed and return. If you look right here, that's where that fuel cooler is going to go. It's going to be angled down. It's got 2 little 7-inch fans. Get that mounted. That's the 2 straps I put in for the hydraulic tank. Of course, that's it. Your Raycor filter, batteries, and then you went with the Vixen air tank. Like I said, we're at 150 PSI on it. This electric hydraulic pump is for the cab lift, to lift the cab up. There's your parking brake and your drum assembly. 750 Allison transmission. That's the air compressor we mounted. You look right here, it's your standard regulator, breather box. That goes to the tank. It's your sense line. And then you've got 2 coolant lines right here because it's a water cooled. This plate will come off right here. That's where your auxiliary water pump will, your auxiliary hydraulic pump will bolt up for the steering. And then I have the seat mounts. I've got to finish welding those out. And then we'll take, so like I said, that guard will probably come down about right here. It's going to bolt in. We'll cover this up for the most part and go to the front. We'll silicone and seal everything up on the floors. Okay, and as I talked about earlier, I made a post on the page. So Pat is a guy that's local here that's doing the body work. We got both bedsides in, both fenders, and the hood, Ordering all new glass, new sliding rear window, all new door hardware, everything, seals. So we're gonna get all that done, and then there's a local company here in town that does all the decals and stuff, and I'm gonna have all those made, original to the Texas toy. I've got the old body still out there, so we can actually measure those and make sure we get all that correct. But would like to get the bed done, get the bed liner put in it, get the seat put in the cab, get everything done. Hopefully Wednesday I get the roll cage back. It's actually at Coastal Powder Coating right now here in Victoria, and I'll get to put the subframe back on with the roll cage, have the seats in it. Then it's going to be steering, brakes, and hydraulics, and this thing should be ready to drive. I do have a 14-foot door ordered for the shop because I'm going to need that to get it out of here. I could put small tires on it, but I'm really not interested in doing that. Permits here are pretty cheap to haul it. It weighs at 24,000 pounds anyway. You're gonna have to haul it commercially. So I'll just get a permit when I haul it. I'm not swapping the tires off and on unless it's going on a long road trip. But anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for staying engaged and subscribing to the channel. And hopefully I'll get y'all some more updates. Some of this stuff will get done through this week. Next weekend, I should be able to get a lot done on the truck. So